Tron Ares can suck my balls.
Welcome back to the Middle of Culture. I am one of your hosts, Eden.
And I am your other host, Peter.
Peter, welcome back from Pip Pip Cheerio land. How are you?
I'm doing very well. I had to fight the urge to use a bad British accent.
Oh, you should have done it. I was just, when I said you're back from Pip Pip Cheerioville, I wanted you to be like,
hey,
governor, I'm back from across the pond.
Spent a little time in the motherland. Back here.
Berries and cream, berries and cream.
Back over here in the land of tax dodgers. And yeah, it was. So,
anyway,
yeah.
So how you been?
I have been well. How about you? I know you've got stuff going on that's a little more heavy than what I've got. But
we're making it through. I do have to say, fuck 4th of July. Fuck everyone shooting off fireworks because you have given my dogs PTSD.
Yeah, it's rough. It's rough for the dogs.
Here's the thing. Usually they have a couple nights where it's bad. But on July 7th, I was sitting with the dogs in the backyard at 9:30 p.m. And that is when our asshole neighbors decided to shoot off some illegal fireworks on the 7th. And my dogs have never been outside when the fireworks have gone off, and they've certainly never been that close to them. So they're still not having a good time. Poor Liza Jane she's struggling.
Yeah, that is no fun.
I was very mad at my neighbors.
I don't blame you. Yeah, no, we're doing, here's what I'll say. Our 4th of July was interesting because again, I spent the 4th of July having jokes made about the 250 years of the tax dodgers celebrating themselves and stuff like that. Because
there you go.
It was at the Rest of History Festival, and had an interesting
200. We've got 250 years in the bag. We can just wrap it up now. We could be done. The American project has been absolutely proven to be a failure. We can just roll it right up, be done.
You know, it was interesting. There was one of the guys, one of the historians who spoke on Saturday, was giving a presentation. His section was basically a look at America through 3 presidents. And they were interesting choices for the most part. The last one was Reagan, whatever. The one before that was Coolidge. And the one before that was Andrew Johnson.
The devil.
So, yeah. So it was a really interesting way that he kind of looks at America through these 3 presidents. But then in the Q&A part, there was just a thing, and I don't want to get into it, but I'll just say, listen, I sort of clapped when this historian somebody asked the host of the podcast asked him something about what makes Trump different. And his immediate first response is he just turns to the audience and says, "Oh, it's the most blatant corruption seen in a Western civilization in the history of recorded history."
Yeah.
And we were just like, thank you for just saying it out loud. Like, they don't have any qualms. They don't care. But he was just like, oh, no. He said, it is a degree of corruption from which America's image will never recover. Like, America will never recover from this.
Nope. The as I always like to say, the American century of dominance is over. It's time for the American century of humiliation.
I mean, it is what we are in. So
it's what we deserve.
It's what we deserve. But
anyway, tell me about your conference that you went to.
Okay, so
and then we can talk about pop culture stuff. But let's start there.
Yeah, so the Rest is History Festival is ostensibly the reason we decided to go. It was sort of my excuse to say, okay, if we get tickets for this thing, which we did, then that's a good reason to say, let's make a big trip out of this. And Alyssa and I have not done a big trip, as I think I mentioned, that wasn't tied to a work conference since we celebrated our 15th wedding anniversary in 2013. So it's been a while. It's been a minute. And so this was kind of we need to do something. Let's go. Now, granted, I'm not really complaining because my work conferences are generally in very nice places and we get to go and I spend some time in the conferences, but we always have plenty of time to enjoy the places we're at. But it was nice to go.
Yeah, you go to like cool places. I got to go to Providence, Rhode Island next week.
I'm lucky in that the western section of the American Urological Association includes Hawaii. And I also asked them at one point, I said, hey, when you do the conference in Hawaii, what do you, and they were like, oh yeah, no, it's like 400% attendance when we do it in Hawaii.
Yeah.
So the next,
it's an excuse to go to Hawaii. Everyone wants to go to Hawaii.
I mean, so I'm not complaining about the fact that this October, next October, and October 2028, we will be going to Hawaii for my continuing medical education. Maui this year, Oahu next, and Kauai again in 28. So I'm not complaining. But still, it does mean that I'm getting up and I'm leaving and I'm going to the conference and I'm spending usually between about 7:30 in the morning until 2 o'clock in the afternoon at the conference. So This was, let's just go and do our thing. But the festival was really interesting. So The Rest is History is a very popular podcast that has two British historians that they have a really good interplay between the two of them. But what they did at this is a lot of times when they'll have guest historians on, people like Tracy Borman, Mary Beard, some of the others, I'm blanking on names, but people who are historians with a really particular focused or subject matter area. So for example, Mary Beard is a very well-known classicist. So if you want to talk about the Romans and stuff like that, Mary Beard, she's there for you. Tracy Borman is kind of a big Tudor historian, so she was there talking about the Tudors and Henry VIII's wives. But it really was, the two of them would kind of introduce the day, and then they would sort of separate, and one would interview and interact with the guest. And it was a very similar sort of format to the way they do the podcast, in that they'll do usually kind of 4 to 6 episodes about a particular topic. And one of the two of them does the research, really digs deep into it. And then the other one sort of acts as the asking the questions, the reaction to the things that are being said, but what about this? And so they played the part of asking the questions and then allowed the historians to just really talk about what they were subject matter experts in. And it was fascinating. It was fairly wide ranging. Again, it was things like Henry VIII's 6 wives. There was, again, how different is Roman life from ours? Mary Beard was very direct in that she was like, all of you men who think that you would like to live in Roman times, you're wrong. You're stupid. You wouldn't survive. So she was very much like, She was like, it was bad. You don't want to live like that.
Listen, I don't want to live in the 1970s. Why would I want to live in the 100s?
Yeah, exactly. Then there was stuff about Persia and kind of leading up to the Iranian Revolution and the overthrow of the Shah. There was one about whether or not Ireland should or will ever be part of the UK again. There was one about coal mining through the lens of an accident in a particular coal mine. And so it was really fascinating. They had a lot of food. We had VIP tickets, so we had a VIP tent. So it was nice. We would come in, we get the VIP tent. There was some breakfast. We would go listen to a couple, go back over, get drinks, get some lunch, go listen to a few more, go back. They had afternoon tea. We could go and get some scones with clotted cream and little finger sandwiches and little things like that. And so we kind of did that throughout the day. We'd go to the sessions. They had a bookstore. So again, understandably, every one of the historians had at least a book or two, in some cases, many that they'd written. And so after their presentation, they would go to the book tent and you could go there and they would sign book copies if you wanted. And all of their books were on sale at the book tent. And then they had some other stuff going on. They had, on Saturday, they had a group that sort of, and apparently there's a bunch of these sort of clubs across, more so in Europe, though some still in America, of medieval combat, where they pay a lot of money to get very nice, accurate armor made by, experts in this. And then they put it all on and then beat the shit out of each other and go for it. So we got to kind of watch that.
That just reminds me of when you and I were at Comic-Con and we saw those people trying to do those fencing lessons while we were eating our pizza.
Oh yes.
a little lower barrier to entry there. A little cheaper.
Yes, definitely. And then at the same place on Sunday, the second day of the festival, they had some like 18th century fencing people who were honestly are professional choreographers in sword fights. They've worked on Pirates of the Caribbean movies and other things where there's a lot of sword play. And so they had a whole choreographed battle between the two of them that they did very quickly at first, and then actually walked us through the whole thing and kind of why this would not be practical in an actual battle, but this is why we do it, because it looks good, and kind of taking us through all that. And then once they had taken everybody, gone through that step by step, then they went through and did it at full speed again. And it was really interesting to see, having heard them describe why they were doing the things they were doing, see them walk through it. So it was really interesting. It was at Hampton Court Palace, which is beautiful. We went through the palace and looked at stuff as well, kind of checked out, Henry VIII's The Great Chamber there with this. It's just a big, massive room where they would have the meals, and the ceiling was just incredibly ornate. And we're in the bedchamber of George the whichever, I don't remember, and seeing kind of how things were there. And, but here's the actual bedchamber when he wasn't entertaining, and here's the big one. And it was really, really fascinating. The festival was cool. It was warm. So we got there temperature-wise. We got there just as the heat wave was fading. And then we had a pretty nice week. And then Saturday, Sunday, it was cranking up again. So it was like 82 on Saturday, 85 on Sunday. The VIP seating, we had kind of tiered bleacher type seating, but with backs and everything that were covered. So we at least had shade. But yeah, it was cool. It was cool. Would I go again? I think I would probably say they need to make some changes before I would go again, but this was their very first time. Fair. And I think they were kind of figuring stuff out.
Oh, was it?
Yes, this was the first year they have done this. And so it will be interesting to see what changes they make in the future. I do not regret going at all. I was a little bummed on Sunday instead of being able to listen to all of the presentation on the Weimar Republic leading up to World War II. I was on the phone with Delta trying to figure out how in the hell I was going to get home, because Sunday morning I got a nice little notification that KLM, who was the Delta partner who was operating our flight home on Tuesday, had canceled our flight from London to Amsterdam because of a mechanical issue.
Oh no.
So yeah, we had some airline fun at the beginning, at the end.
That sounds terrible.
Our first flight Thursday night got canceled and moved to Friday night because they had a sick pilot and couldn't find a replacement. So we spent the night in Minneapolis and got to bum around the Mall of America, because what else are we going to do wandering around Minneapolis with suitcases in tow?
Not a whole lot.
And then coming back,
Minneapolis is a cool town, but you got to have a car.
Yeah. And then coming back, again, had to spend a few hours between Sunday and Monday, just making sure that we could check in for our flight and get back on Tuesday. But we did. We made it. And once we were on the planes, it went well. It was just a little bit of kerfuffle getting on both of our scheduled planes. In fact, we did not get on either of our scheduled planes. They were different flights both times. But, what can you do?
Bummer.
But yeah, so that was the festival. What else do you want to know?
Cool. How else was London other than the festival?
London was
Y'all
cool.
do some other fun stuff?
London was cool. So we are not, I know people who are, the way I like to refer to it, they are spreadsheet vacationers. They're Excel vacationers.
Sure.
They have everything down to the minute plotted out. Liz and I are not of that ilk. Perhaps we were at some point in our lives. I don't think we ever were, but now we especially are not. And so what we did, and I thought for us, it worked out perfectly. We had a certain number of things where it was like, okay, we're going to do this. So we got in early Saturday morning. Saturday night, we had already set up. We had tickets to go on the London Eye, the big, Ferris wheel observation eye. then after that, at the latest time of the day, we had a Thames riverboat kind of tour that we had scheduled. But we didn't have anything else on Saturday. So we just had some time to kind of wander around and check things out and kind of try and recalibrate because, we'd spent a night in a hotel, then we'd been awake for many hours and didn't really sleep on the plane that much and all that fun stuff.
Sure.
Sunday, we just took it easy. Well, we didn't take it easy. We didn't have any plans. So we ended up walking about 25,000 steps around central London, checking things out. And I'll talk about some of those things. Monday was when we had scheduled basically a full day tour that went from London out to Windsor Castle, which is the castle that is now the official home of the royal family. That is where, Elizabeth II is buried and things like that. So we went out there to Windsor Castle, and then out to Stonehenge, and spent some time at Stonehenge, and then ended up the tour in Oxford and kind of going around Oxford and checking things out there, and then got back into town. It was about 12 hours in total that we were doing all that. So that day was pretty full. Tuesday, what did we do Tuesday? I feel like Tuesday was the day that Tuesday we had tickets to go to Westminster Abbey and check that out. And then went to the British Museum. That night we went and saw Hadestown in the theater district. Wednesday, we just did a bunch of walking around again, put in another about 25,000 steps, and then ended that night. We went to the opening night of La Boheme at the Royal Opera House.
Oh, wow.
And then Thursday, we made the transition from central London out to Teddington, which is only about 14 miles from central London. It took us about 90 minutes to get there because the traffic is awesome.
Jeez.
But made it out there. It's still technically, it's like a suburb of London. It's still technically part of London.
Sure.
But that was nice because it was a big change of pace. I mean, we were in central London. We were at the Park Plaza Westminster Bridge Hotel. You could see out of the front of the hotel straight over Westminster Bridge to the Elizabeth Tower, the Houses of Parliament. All that was right there. I mean, we could see it from the hotel. And so we were right in the middle of it. Like we would go out and we're crossing over the Westminster Bridge and it's just a mass of people. And so it was very busy, tons of people. We were on the South Bank, and the South Bank is kind of a whole lot of, there's just stuff all along the South Bank, and there's a walk that goes along the South Bank for a couple miles. And so we were in the middle of all that. And then we got out to Teddington, and we were just in a little studio with a little, bathroom, bedroom, and then a teeny little kitchen nook. And it was fairly newly remodeled, and it was clean, and it was so much more quiet and chill there. Once we were in Teddington, we would just walk along Teddington High Street, go down to the shops, find a restaurant, grab gelato, went into a bookshop, just kind of wandered around. It was nice there. It was easy. For the festival, we would walk down half a block and just hop on the bus and take the bus straight down to Hampton Court Palace. And then once we were done, we would come out of Hampton Court Palace, go to the bus stop, hop on it, take it straight back to Teddington. And it made that part of it a lot more kind of low key and easy. And just then did the festival on Saturday and Sunday and kind of had a good time. I will say,
nice.
It's really interesting. It is easy for us to forget just how new America is.
Yeah.
And you're walking around London, this, big city, about 10 million people in it. And you're just walking along and it's like, here's these big new modern buildings. And then, here's the Tower of London that was built in the 11th century. And, here's this that was built in the 12th century. And here's this, which was built in the 13th century. And so
it's really weird. It's disorienting. When I was living in Spain, I lived in a town called Tarragona, which was the Roman capital of the Iberian colony, Iberian territories. So yeah, there was like 2,200-year-old stuff.
Yeah.
You could just go see like an aqueduct. You could just go be in the Colosseum, and it was just like part of the city.
Yeah.
Or like when you go to Madrid and you go to a candy shop, a chocolate shop that opened up in 1604, and you're like, oh, they've been making chocolate here for 400 years.
Yeah, it's wild. I mean,
that's longer than people have lived in my country.
Yeah. Again, we're walking through Westminster Abbey, which it was interesting. Westminster Abbey was one of those kind of shocking things because you're going through and it's just everywhere you walk is an inlaid marker for somebody who's died and buried there. So it's like, oh, here's Charles Darwin, here's Handel, here's this person, here's this person, here's this person. And it is, I'm making my UK appropriate comment here, or joke rather, and that is that Westminster Abbey was kind of like the TARDIS. It didn't look that big from the outside. And then we got in and we're walking through it and I'm like, oh my gosh, does this thing ever end? But it was just, I mean, and you're there and you're looking at the coronation chair. That's like every king has been crowned on this chair for a millennia practically. And it's like, oh, here's, here's the all of these people are buried here from again, the 1200s, the 1300s, things like that. And we just don't really have a sense of history like that. We went to the British Museum.
At least not in the dominant culture. I do have to amend what I said earlier where I said, oh, this chocolate thing is longer than people have lived here. I mean longer than the United States of America, because obviously the continent upon which the United States of America is currently constituted was not depopulated. I am not out here spreading some Manifest Destiny bullshit about how nobody lived out here.
Thank you for
there was
the correction.
Lots of cultures that had hundreds and thousands of years of existing and meaningful cultural experiences and development. It's just not the dominant culture amongst which we are all suborned right now.
Correct. Thank you for that clarification. It is an important one.
I agree. That's why I was like, oh, I gotta say something.
Yes, thank you.
I gotta make sure people know
that we do recognize that we are.
This is stolen land.
That we are referencing the culture of the United States of America as an entity, not the culture of North America as a landmass upon which, as you said, people have lived far longer than us white people.
True.
So, but no, it was cool. We made it over to the British Well, on Sunday when we just did a lot of walking, we walked over to Trafalgar Square and went into the National Gallery. And you know what? Renaissance and medieval era art, babies just look really fucking weird. Those babies
They can't do a baby.
No, they look terrible.
They can't do a baby. They can't do a cat.
Oh, the cat or dragons also. Dragons are really, really, really weird. But it's funny because you look at the babies and a lot of it comes down to proportions. They didn't paint with, I don't know if they understood or whatever, but you see those things where it's like, if a baby grew with the same proportions to the size of an adult, we would look terrifying. We would be horrifyingly freaky looking. But at the same time, if you paint a baby with the proportions of an adult, but just shrink everything down, they also look terrifying. And that's really what they did is their arms and limbs, their limbs were too long for their bodies. Their heads were too small for their bodies. We're used to seeing babies and you don't think about it, but their heads are really, really fucking big for what their bodies are. And their arms and legs are really, really, really short for what their bodies are. And so if you just paint them like adult proportions, but small and bald, they're terrifying.
Yes. Yes, they are.
So we did that. We got to go see, looked at that. The day we went to the British Museum, it's cool. It's overwhelming. There's too much to do. Like you get exhausted. But it was cool to see the Rosetta Stone and like be right there next to it. And you're like, oh yeah, look, I mean, here it is. And here's the head statue thing of Ramses II and all of this stuff that, here's what I'd say. We've heard about some of these things almost our entire lives and seen some of these things. For example, you've seen the statue of Ramses II. You've seen the Elizabeth Tower and the Houses of Parliament in media, in pictures, in books, in movies, and TV shows, all this stuff. You've seen this your entire life. And it was a little weird at first, and it was kind of a surreal feeling of then just being there amongst it all.
Sure.
So it was surreal, but it was cool. I will say Hadestown, great. I was not familiar with it. I knew that Liz loved it. I knew that Jess, I know Jess has seen it. They love it as well. Really, really, really good. Really good. You know, good gut punch of a classic sort of tragedy. I mean, it's based on a good old fashioned Greek myth. So of course it's going to end in a horrible way. But that was really good. And I will say, seeing La Boheme, I have seen La Boheme before. I know that it is an emotional work of art, but you forget just what a kick to the old throat, back, nads, whatever you want it to be a kick to. But it is a gut punch of an opera, and especially the artist, the singer, the performer who was Mimi, who's really kind of the main female character, the one who comes to the tragic end. Probably, I mean, I can say definitely in person, the most just jaw-droppingly, stunningly gorgeous voice I've ever heard in my life. And right up there in terms of anything I've ever even heard recorded. She was just phenomenal. Yeah, so the art was cool. And then a couple things about London itself. It is easy. We got home and we're driving up to our house and I'm like, oh my gosh, our streets are massive. They are so ridiculously wide. They're so wide.
Oh, yeah.
Their streets were very narrow. Lanes are but a suggestion. People drive like crazy people. But here's the interesting thing. They don't really get mad at each other. And they're pretty good about letting each other in. Like, people weren't getting pissed at each other. They weren't free. The only time really I ever heard horns, and we did a ton of walking through central London, was when stupid pedestrians were walking out into the street in front of a car. Then they let people know about it. But in terms of the actual flow of traffic, they were shockingly accommodating to the other cars who were all doing equally crazy things. So that was interesting. Another thing is both nights after the shows, we walked back to our hotel. It was about little over a mile walk was all. And it was decent weather. And, you know, it was only about 10:30 or so at night. I have been in New York, and I wouldn't just be taking a casual stroll at 10:30 at night in New York. And we were just casually walking home from the theater district, and there were just people all over the place, just out walking. And it never felt scary. I know bad things happen. I know there's crime. I'm not saying there isn't. But boy, for a major city, it felt so much more safe and comfortable to just be out at night than any major city I've ever been in the US. I mean, so much more comfortable than being out at night in Salt Lake City by leaps and bounds. Really interesting. Really interesting. So
that is interesting.
Yeah. But
well, cool. Thanks for regaling us with tales of your daring do adventures.
It was a cool place. I liked it.
It sounds like it.
Yeah.
It sounds like
it. Yeah, it was neat.
Well, what have you been checking out pop culture wise?
I
hear you watched numerous what do you call them? Films on the plane.
I did. Before we get to the films, because these are all films you're going to have opinions, because I know they're all films you have seen. Okay. So I'm going to cut through the other stuff so that then we can chat together about these films. Let's talk about some music. Since we last met, the band Warning has released their album Rituals of Shame. Did we talk about Warning?
No.
So Warning.
You say Warning and all I think is Warning.
Yeah, I know. Good old Queensryche album. No, Warning is a British doom band. Their previous album, Watching from a Distance, came out in 2006. And then they called it quits. And the main guy behind the band did 40 Watt Sun, which was a little bit mellower, not quite so metal, a little more rock. And then they kind of started doing some shows together again a few years ago. And then all of a sudden, earlier this year, it was like, bam, Warning is putting out a new album called Rituals of Shame. And it came out a few weeks ago. It is classic doom metal. This and Watching from a Distance are like, they're not, this is music for when you are expecting something very sad. This is some of the most mournful sounding music I've ever listened to, but it's great. It's a good album. Prince of Failure was released. It's kind of a collaboration between Daniel Tompkins, the lead vocalist for Tesseract, and Paul Ortiz. He goes by Chimp Spanner. He did a number of albums and some solo guitar kind of djenty stuff. It's an interesting pop metal kind of mix, but I haven't gone back to it a lot since the first weekend or so, so it hasn't really been as sticky. I don't know if you listened to the new single from Russian Circles.
I have not yet.
It sounds like it sounds like Russian Circles.
It sounds like Russian Circles.
And it sounds,
this is a band that, for better or for worse, has sounded the same for 15 years, and I'm happy for them.
I mean, this is more of that. Sounds like they're still in their let's make things a little bit heavier era, which I am here for.
Good.
I like that. That's when I really, really like Russian Circles. I have rediscovered the band Coma, Khoma. It's funny. I looked in my Apple Music library and I had one of their albums. I think the last one they released back in like 2012 sitting there, but it was one of those, every time I'd look at it, I'm like, man, I don't remember. Why did I add this band? Oh, I added it because Johannes Persson of Cult of Luna is the guitarist. He does the guitars for Coma. It is another band from Sweden, but it's a lot more, think Cult of Luna. Okay, here's what I'd say. Coma is to Cult of Luna as Guilt Machine is to Arion.
Okay.
So it's still post-metal, just like still kind of proggy stuff, but a lot more pop influenced, kind of clean vocals, stuff like that. And I've been really digging it. They basically, the reason it popped back up for me is they announced that their second album, their 2006 album, is going to be reissued by Pelagic Records on vinyl. And so that just made me go, okay, I should check these guys out. And really good, really good. And then the final one I will mention is Junius. Junius is a Boston band. I discovered them in 2017 with their album Eternal Rituals for the Accretion of Light. Their most recent album, Sotera, finally dropped a little over a week ago. It's fantastic. Junius is what if Depeche Mode, instead of being kind of a dark pop band, decided they wanted to be a post-metal band. And so...
Okay. I really like Depeche Mode.
I think you should check out Junius, especially their last two albums. Sotera is the new one. And again, Eternal Rituals for the Accretion of Light. They're both fantastic. So very, very cool. Couple books. I did finish Angie Kills a King. I didn't have much to go. And I stick with sort of my previous assessment that interesting world. I don't like the main character. The end of this book sets her up to be a leader in the rebellion. And we'll see, I will read it, but it's not something where I'm like, oh, I'm so excited for it to come out, because I just still never really got to the point that I liked the character of Angie. Did read The Color of Magic, the first of the Discworld books. I had read it many years ago, but I started Discworld on the plane, read that. It's fun. Discworld is fun. Terry Pratchett is fun. It was fun to read. And I will be reading more of it, but I kind of got sidetracked, picked up some history books. So I'm right now reading a book called Willy, Willy, Harry, and Stee, which is basically, it is an entire history of all of the kings of Britain, or the rulers of England. And so I'm kind of going through that. And then I have a couple from actually the guys who do the Rest is History podcast, a couple history books of theirs, which are more like funny little, not super well-known stories from history, just kind of fun little books. So I've been reading more of that kind of stuff. But yeah, so I don't know, before we jump into the movies, is there other stuff that you would like to share with us?
Sure. I could talk about the things that I have been doing that's not movies. Well, I can also talk about movies that I have seen that I bet you have not seen, which I'll probably do here at the end.
I think that sounds fantastic.
Movies. Lots of new music that I've been checking out in the last few weeks. First off, new Rebecca Black single. Oh, Peter, it's so good. Do you know who every time she puts out new music just makes me want to cheer, because I am just so happy that she did not let the virulent reaction to her parents paying a producer to let her make a video when she was a tween ruin her life, and instead was like, no, I'm going to come back and I'm going to do something great. Up to and including, last time I watched a DJ set of hers, she had a remixed version of Friday as a part of her DJ set, and it slapped, bro. It slapped.
I love that.
I love Rebecca Black. I've also been listening. Guess what? I'm still listening to K-pop.
Okay.
I'm still being a K-pop girly. Here's the thing. Blackpink put out a new EP actually earlier this year, and I didn't hear about it. It's real good. The song Go specifically is a real banger. I really recommend. If you're like, oh, Eden keeps talking about all these K-pop bands, should I check out a K-pop song? Here's a couple you should check out. Go by Blackpink. Go watch the music video. It's a trip. It's a wild music video. Also, it's the first time all 4 of the Blackpink girls have written on a song together, so that's kind of fun. Also, here's the part where you need to know this and then go listen to the song. Chris Martin from Coldplay helped write this song, and then you'll listen to it and you'll be like, the Coldplay guy helped write this song? Does not sound like Coldplay. It's way better.
I mean, that's good that it doesn't sound like
ever
Coldplay.
Did. I mean, yeah, because Coldplay's no good.
Yeah.
So, new Blackpink, very good. There is a new band entirely that I found that is called Meow, spelled MEOVV.
Okay.
They're very good. If you want to hear what a Meow song sounds like, look up the song Hit 'Em, which has been the best pump up the jams. Let's get pumped. Let's do some workouts. Let's like ride bike very fast. Let's work out. It's great. It's about being a boxer and fighting very hard. It's really great. And then the last thing I will mention is Itzy, Le Seraphim, and Cat's Eye together worked on... No, Illit, Le Seraphim, and Cat's Eye worked together on a song called Iconic by Mistake. And it's a banger.
Oh, great.
It's real good. It's very fun. So check them out. Other things to mention. I've been playing a few new video games, both of which are weird, janky, small budget, action-y games that I don't know that they're good necessarily, but I think they're very cool.
Okay.
And those are AI Limit and Cry Machina. Cry Machina is Japanese. AI Limit is Chinese. AI Limit is absolutely like, hey, what if we tried to make a Souls game, but made it a little too easy to be a Souls game? But that's okay because then normal people can play
now
it.
I'm interested.
It's cool. Yeah, no, it's not quite like the Jedi games easy, which are the easiest of those like Souls-like sort of games I think you can do, because they like, you can open the parry window far too wide in those Jedi games. But AI Limit, very cool. You play as a weird robot person. It's a weird post-apocalyptic world. You have to fight an evil church. Who doesn't love fighting an evil church? It's pretty cool. It's a very cool game. And then I just recently started Cry Machina because it was on sale at the Steam sale. So I picked it up because it's been on my my wish list for years at this point. And it was finally a price that I was like, okay, I'll pick this up. And that is, again, set in a weird post-apocalyptic future where the whole world was destroyed, and the humanity sent off a like colony ship called Eden that is still just floating through space, and the 8 AI that are in charge of running the thing have all just been doing their functions. So what used to be a spaceship is now this entire huge like thing floating in space. But now they're all fighting against each other, all the Dei Ex Machina, as they call themselves, the 8 AI. So the last AI brings your main character back, who was a kid who died from a disease 2 years before the world imploded. And you and these 2 other girls are basically robot people whose job is to become a real human, because that's the only way you can bring all the other AIs back under control, is by being a real human. They'll only answer to a real human because they all follow Asimov's rules of robotics, and there's no human to order them around. So that's why they're all going rampant. It's pretty cool. It's very stylish. Very nice. It's very fun. All right. Last couple things I will mention are, I have to say, I finished How Do We Relationship. I think I mentioned it last time that I was starting it. Yo, dog. It's the best romance comic I've ever read.
Okay.
It's so good. It's so good. And importantly, just last week, they announced they're making a live action adaptation of it.
Oh, wow.
It is filming this fall. They've cast the 2 leads, so they put up some promo images. If they pull this off, it's going to be a really, really good TV show.
Okay.
So I'm very curious to see how it goes. I'm very excited. The people who are show running it are people who have done other shows that I've liked. So I'm hopeful. I will save. There is a lot of anime this season that I am watching.
Okay.
And I will save that for next time because I will just mention I'm watching Chainsmoker Cat. I'm watching Jadugar. I'm watching I Want to Love You Till Your Dying Day. I'm watching The Ghost in the Shell. It's a wild time for anime right now.
Cool. Very good.
So we'll talk about that maybe next week. But movies, a couple movies I know you didn't see. Guess what I got to go see at the Grindhouse the other night?
What?
It's a little movie from the 80s starring Weird Al Yankovic. I went and saw UHF on the big screen.
I love that movie.
Me too. And I probably haven't seen it in 20 years. It was a delight to watch on the big screen with a bunch of friends.
Yeah, totally. I believe it.
Especially because my friend Nathan was there and he had never seen it. And so I got to sit next to him as he enjoyed UHF for the very first time.
I mean,
he was blown away by it.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. Some other pretty bad movies that I've watched, Crime Zone and Steel Frontier. They're both just bad, like 80s, 90s. Sure. I watch them with the Bad Movie Bros. Crime Zone had David Carradine in it, doing the worst acting that David Carradine's ever done, which is
saying something.
High bar because he's terrible in everything. He's not a good actor.
No, he's awful.
He was doing nothing in this film. It was dreadful. We had very fun time watching it because it was so dreadful. And then Steel Frontier was like, what if we made a Mad Max for much, much less money? But they did still have some pretty sick-ass car stunts in it. And also Joe Lara was the main character, and he was a smoke show, man. He's so hot. He's like, what if Jared Leto was not the worst, just sort of bad, and it was already dead? That's Joe Lara.
Okay.
So let's talk movies that I think maybe both of us have seen.
Okay, let's do it. Let's talk. So again, the flight out was supposed to leave at 11:15 p.m. We would be landing around 1 o'clock London time the following day. That didn't happen. We got bumped to 6 p.m. the next day, landing at 8 a.m. the following day, but still overnight. So the flight out, but the flight back was a direct 10.5-hour flight from Heathrow to Salt Lake City in the middle of the day. Left at 10:15, maybe it was like 10:50 something in the morning, landed a little after 2 o'clock. I was wide awake for that one. So I needed something.
I bet.
So I watched The Fate of the Furious.
That's not a good Fast and the Furious movie.
So I think it was my favorite of the 3 I watched.
Okay, tell me more.
So I watched The Fate of the Furious, and then I followed that with F9, and then I followed that with F10. Let's talk about...
Okay, of those three, Fate of the Furious is unfortunately the best one.
Let's talk about those last 3 movies in the Fast and Furious franchise, Eden.
Oh, it's rough.
Oh, and it gets increasingly more rough. Increasingly more rough.
The problem is they give Vin more and more control. The man should have no control.
Correct. And
he's not God.
And I don't know if this was to try and up the stakes, to try and make him more human, but introducing the son, his little son, Brian Little, dude.
Brian Jr.
That is the biggest problem with all 3 of these.
Agreed.
You can...
Because then it just unnecessarily endangers the child, and then they have to do stupid things because there's now children involved.
But also, they want you to think there's real stakes, but there are plenty of times, especially in F9, where it's real easy for them to make you think there's stakes with a child at the beginning and then, Dom is like, oh, I can't do that now. I got a kid. I'm a dad. And Letty's like, that's not who we are. And then very conveniently, they're like, okay, kid's out of the picture. No worries. Let's go do a Fast and Furious movie.
Hey, we've got Brian's wife here, the sister we forget about, who only gets briefly mentioned. Take our child for the duration of this film, please.
Until we want you to come and help kick butt at some other time, too. I can't even remember if that was only an F10 or if that was an F9 as well. Either
I think it was in both of them.
I think it was, too. And then
they're always like, and Brian, regular Brian, adult Brian, he's just off screen.
Yeah.
He's just off screen.
There.
Don't worry about it. There. We won't recast him.
No.
He's here still.
Let's talk about too many people. Again, here's the problem. You want to make us, you add this son of Dominic into the storyline to, in my belief and opinion, to try and somehow increase the stakes of the story.
Yes.
But then you completely undo all of that by bringing back every fucking person who's died in the series.
Yes. I love Han. Han should have stayed dead.
I mean, it undoes so much of, again, any feeling of stakes. And why, for the love of all that is decent and holy, does Gal Gadot have to come back at the end of F10?
Agreed. That's the worst part.
Yes.
She should never have come back. Let her stay dead. She's the worst.
It was egregious. Again, you could bring Han back. You didn't need to, but you brought Han back, and you have the little thing where he's talking about the two. Why are you bringing her back? You know. Anyway, you try and increase stakes, and then you undercut yourself by resurrecting too many people. So now, look, spoilers, these movies are old enough, I don't even care. So when Jacob, which, oh, good grief, come on, really? I'm sorry.
Here's the thing, though. I was just going to say, we got to talk about some of the things that are good in these movies, because you know who's the best every time he's on screen? John Cena.
Yes.
I fucking love that guy.
That's fine, and I do too. But never once, every time he's on screen, I'm like, bullshit. He is not Vin Diesel's brother.
They've got A, B, we're 9 movies in, and now we're introducing a secret brother, even though we have spent 7 movies with Dom and Mia.
Family.
Familia, drink a Corona and talk about La Familia. Except not Jacob. He's not in the family.
No, because
he's too hot.
Because he. So I thoroughly enjoyed John Cena, but
he's great.
But again, I don't believe he's dead.
No.
You've given me so many reasons to not
all.
believe he's dead. You try and make me think he's sacrificing himself, but it doesn't have any teeth. There are no stakes at all. Let's talk about villains.
I mean, they're bad. Charlize Theron is wasted on this film.
On all three of them?
Films. Yes. I don't even remember who the bad guy is.
So it's kind of John Cena in 9.
John Cena's kind of the bad guy in 9, but I don't even remember who the bad guy is by 10.
Well, so in 9, John Cena is backed by, nameless, rich
Mr. Nobody.
Well, no,
right?
he's backed by nameless, rich son of some Eastern European country, whatever.
Sure.
Complete waste of space, waste of screen time, just a cipher that did not need to be there. And then let's talk about F10, because unfortunately we're going to have to deal with this villain again.
Before we go to F10.
Okay, please.
I think as I'm thinking about these movies, I think F9 might be the best one. And here's why. The boys from Tokyo Drift come back.
It's true.
And they're all 1,000 years old, but they're back. And B, they send Roman and Tej to space in a car.
In a Pontiac Fiero, nonetheless.
Roman and Tej go to space. And here's the thing. That movie is so funny because Roman has that running joke about how, like, he thinks he's maybe got superpowers because nothing bad has ever happened to him. In 10 of these fucking movies, nothing bad has... everyone else has been shot at least once. Half of them have died and come back. Nothing's ever happened to Roman.
It's true.
So he's like, I think that I have superpowers. And so, of course, they send him to space, and he comes back fine because he's got superpowers.
It is, I think
And every time Tyrese and Luda are on screen, I feel like I'm winning. Those guys are the bright lights of that cast at this point. I just want their spinoff movie. Why did they make a spinoff with The Rock and Jason Statham? Give me the Roman Tej. Two dumb brothers spinoff.
That would be a much better movie. Here's the thing I would say. I think in another world in which I had not done these 3 movies back to back to back, I would probably agree with you that 9 is the best of the 3. But I was feeling that I had made perhaps poor choices trapped in a metal tube 38,000 feet above the ground. Let's talk.
I did just remember Fast 10 is directed by Louis Leterrier, who is terrible.
Who's directing the next one.
Way worse than Justin Lin. Well, it's going to be bad.
Yep.
And B, I just looked at the thing to remind myself who the bad guy is. It's Jason Momoa doing the worst that he's ever done.
It's really bad.
That's maybe not true. He was also very bad in another movie I watched last week, but we could talk about that in a minute too.
Jason Momoa is very bad in this.
He's so bad.
And it's like the problem is he's not consistent. You want Jason Momoa to come in and be this flamboyant, whatever, villain with daddy issues. Okay, great. But do it. But there are all these times where it's like, and he's going back and forth between, he's tough guy, Jason Momoa, and then all of a sudden he's painting toenails and fingernails. And like, it was, you could never forget that it was Jason Momoa. You just couldn't.
Yeah. No, I felt like he was dreadful.
He was really, really awful.
Also, it felt like 2/3 of his dialogue was ADR'd in.
Yeah. Yeah.
There are a lot of things where his back is turned or you can't really see his voice, and then he's doing goofy lines and you're like, oh no, he spent a lot of time in the booth trying to save this movie and it did not work.
No. So needless to say, we have apparently 2 more years before the next movie comes out.
I don't think they'll ever come out.
Yeah. And that's okay. Like, it kind of ends on a cliffhanger, but I'm all right. I don't really need to see what is going to come next.
I will be seated derogatory. I'll go. I'll probably watch them all again before I go see another one, but I'll go see it.
I will see the 11th if and when it comes out. I will not watch any of these again. I don't believe.
Fair.
But
you know what? That's fair.
Should we talk about the one that really broke my heart?
Depends. Is it the one that I saw and then wanted to talk with you about?
I don't think so. What one did you see?
I mean, did you go see Masters of the Universe yet?
No, I have not been able to. Between call and getting ready to go and everything, I have not had a chance to see Masters of the Universe.
Here's what I'll say.
Our sister Vanessa liked it.
I liked that movie a hell of a lot more than I expected to. And my expectations were in the toilet because it's a He-Man movie. That movie's good.
I'm excited to see it when I can. I just don't know when I'm going to be able to because of everything.
We'll talk about it when you do, because I thought that movie I was very delighted by that movie.
I
thought that it understood the assignment very well. And leaned into being a He-Man movie in, I think, really effective ways. Where they were like, this is corny and it's stupid and that's okay. And we're just going to roll with it and do it in the most sincere way possible. Good.
Again, I am looking forward to seeing it because that's what I was hoping. I was hoping that it would embrace the silliness of the entire conceit.
So then my question is the one that disappointed you Supergirl?
No, didn't have a chance to go see that one either because
that movie sucks.
And that's the sad thing is everything I've heard. I listened to the Kind of Funny in review about it while I was doing some yard work yesterday, and it really sounds like it just like it's bad enough that this group of people who have in some cases, to make me question their sanity, defended some of the other DC EU movies. They're basically at the end of Supergirl, they're like, I wonder how many more of this actual version of the DC universe we're going to get, because this one was bad.
Truly.
Like,
It felt like a misstep on basically every level.
That's what it sounds like.
I think that Millie Alcock is trying really hard to elevate a really, really bad film. And like I wasn't expecting that much going in because I don't think Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow was very good. And lots of people think it's one of the best comics ever made. And I'm like, well, I mean, it looks great because Bill Kiev drew it, but Tom King wrote it and that guy can't write a good comic. So I had lower expectations, I think, than everyone else I was with. And most of the people who liked that comic, who have read that comic. And it still didn't meet them. I still felt like it was a misfire on top of misfire. And like it had earned a little bit of goodwill. And then there is a needle drop at the end of this film, in the climax of this film, that is so jarring and out of place and takes you so far out of the action that I turned to my friend Jackson seated next to me and I said, this just burned out any goodwill this movie had for me. Dude.
Is that
this is the worst cover
of the Jimmy Eat World song, The Middle?
Yes. Yeah, it's dreadful.
They talked about
if it had been the real song, I still would have been like, this was a terrible needle drop. But because it is like lo-fi trailer version to Kill Guys 2, it was dreadful. It was I cannot imagine what person watched that film and said okay to that, especially because what I've read in the press is that it was between that and the song Girls Just Want to Have Fun, which also would have been inappropriate, also would have been a misfire, but it would have been a funny one instead of a terrible one.
Yeah, they pointed out that was another one of the big things of that Kind of Funny in review is they basically said not a single one of the needle drops like worked really. And they pointed out that one especially egregious.
It's dreadful. It's dreadful. It's a very bad movie.
That is really
it's too bad.
That is too bad. Well, you know what else is a very bad movie?
Now we got to know, what did you watch?
And it breaks my heart. Look, I didn't think this was going to be a good movie. I never expected this to be a good movie. But its predecessors are also not good movies. But this one's so much worse. Okay. Tron Ares can suck my balls.
That movie is so bad.
That movie, it's
so bad.
Like makes me angry at how bad it is. So,
because it could have been good. The effects are cool as shit.
Except here's the thing.
When the light bikes are in the real world cutting cop cars in half, you're like, that's pretty cool.
I disagree. That's the problem. Is not even the visuals worked for me. Nothing about this movie worked. The visuals, they wanted to look cool, but they just there were brief moments of that looked okay. But it's like so much of it doesn't. That's the thing that blew my mind. Tron Legacy is not a good story.
No.
But it is an incredible movie to watch.
Yeah, it's cool as hell to look at.
Add in
the original Tron. The original Tron is not a good story.
It is not.
But it's cool as hell to look at.
And so, and you take Tron Legacy, which just looks sick as shit, and you throw the Daft Punk soundtrack in there. Oh, sometime after I had watched Tron Ares, I just happened to catch, it was an Instagram reel, not even of the scene, but of the person watching the scene in the battle where Sam Flynn, I think it is, runs and jumps in slow-mo as that Daft Punk soundtrack kicks in and the light bike forms around him and he takes off. Those 10 seconds were better than everything in Tron Ares. The story is stupid. Evan Peters is so atrocious as the villain. He is so one-dimensional. I am so sick and tired of bad guys, of the villain's motivation being, I'm going to sell arms to the military. And it's just like the second it kicked off and that's what it is, I'm like, oh, you've got to be fucking kidding me. This is such a tired trope. And he's so one-dimensional. And Gillian Anderson cannot save anything trying to be like, why are you? And like, just the effects the first time that it sort of 3D prints things from the grid, and then the support, the external supports all drop away. It kind of looks cool, but then when it goes into the grid, it's all like, it just doesn't look that cool. Even the battle where Ares takes the NCOM grid people into, I mean, the Dillinger grid people into the NCOM grid to, like, even that battle, it's not that cool. It's not that, like, it was, I forgot that battle happened until I was reading a summary of the plot to remind myself.
You were like, oh yeah.
Because in my head, all we ever saw was the red grid. And then it was like, no, we do have.
They went to the good grid.
But like, and Jared Leto, look, here's the best thing I can say about him. Does he do a passable job of being a computer program who doesn't know how to be human? Yeah, because he sucks. Because well, that's what I'm saying.
It's so
like
bad.
He's so bad that you're just like, yeah, I can believe this is like a piece of code that doesn't know how to be human, but is trying to pretend to be human.
He is like a charisma void at the center of that film that sucks anything interesting out of that movie. It's astonishing how bad he is in that film. Because he's not good. I don't think Jared Leto is good very often. Occasionally he's good. Again, you should go see Master of the Universe because you know who he fucking kills it
Skeletor.
as? Skeletor. He's because he plays Skeletor as the campy gay bitch we all know Skeletor is. And his fag hag girlfriend Evila is there to be his beard. Like, it's so funny how gay Skeletor is in that movie and how campily he's played, and it's perfect. And then you're like, this is the guy who sucked literally everything interesting out of Tron Ares?
Yeah.
This guy.
So bad. And I mean, the story is the most predictable, banal bullshit in the world, and incomprehensible, the decisions they made. Like, I want to know, what was the thought process in the writer's room who goes, okay, we've got Tron Legacy. That came out, 2013? It's been a hot minute.
Yeah.
We set this whole thing up with, the idea of spontaneous code generation in whatever Olivia Wilde's character's name was, which I'm blanking on now. She comes out of the grid. We see her riding on the back of Sam's motorcycle. And now all of a sudden you're telling me that without the persistence code that they're looking for, everything dissolves and goes back to the grid in 29 minutes. Well, that's not what we just like it. And we have this character, and all we get is a flashby of he's gone, and we have two sisters who've taken over NCOM. But then we're going to go so try hard that we're going to make one of those sisters died of brain cancer before the story actually started. So again, it's like, why did there's every decision in this movie. It's like you guys sat down and said, what's the stupidest thing we could do? Let's do that. And then we're going to make it stupider.
Yeah. It's truly dreadful.
And I feel bad saying this part too. I found the 9 Inch Nails soundtrack utterly forgettable.
All right. Well, that I think you're wrong on, but
I don't remember. There was not a single moment of that soundtrack in the movie itself where I was like, oh yeah, I'm feeling this. Like
I did like the soundtrack.
Every moment of that music, I was like, it's just kind of for me. It was a super bummer. I did not expect it to be good. I did not expect it to be such hot garbage.
Well, good job watching it. I'm sorry that you had to suffer through that. But
it was perfect because I was trapped in a metal tube 38,000 feet above the ground, and there was nothing else I could do.
That's the play.
It's like, I can watch this. Bad movies. I'm glad I watched them when I did, because had I set aside time when I could have been doing literally anything else at home, I would have hated these movies even more than I do.
Yeah.
But,
well, I'm glad you had fun with how bad they were.
I mean, they truly were bad. And here's what I would say. The Fast and Furious movies at least would probably fall into the good bad movie categorization of like the Flophouse, except maybe Fast 10. That one's probably just a bad movie. Tron Ares is just straight up a bad movie. It's a real doozy of a bad movie. Like, And it was, again, I'm not saying that Tron or Tron Legacy are good movies. They are not good movies, but at least, especially Tron Legacy, it is so much fun to watch, so many parts of that. And I did not find Ares to be entertaining from a visual standpoint, except for like maybe 10 to 15 second bits here and there sprinkled throughout this 2+ hour long movie.
Yeah, that's fair.
Anyway, there we go.
Fair.
Those are the movies I watched. They were bad movies.
Yeah, that's a bunch of weenies.
They really were.
But what you gonna do?
I mean, sometimes you gotta watch bad movies.
I think I had a quick plan if we didn't take a full hour, but dear listeners, we took a full hour just chatting and catching up. So
I think we did.
We're gonna punt on our quick thing. We already have a plan for next time, so we're winning.
We do
over here. And we will be back in a couple of weeks with another episode. Feel free to go on your platform of choice and give us 5 stars or a review. Those always help other people find the podcast. You can always reach out to us at feedback@themiddleofculture.com. If you want to tell us that Jared Leto's actually a good actor, I would love to hear your argument. I don't know that it will convince me, but I'd love to hear you try.
Yeah, I would love that too.
And otherwise, we'll be back in a couple of weeks with another one.
Bye.